Hello and welcome. Third, maybe fourth time I try this voiceover today. Let's hope this is the right one, the good one. Anyway, yeah, another sketchbook page today. I'm sitting here really without a plan, just it's 9 o'clock. I got my cup of coffee with me, and let's just try and talk about this drawing here. It's a little different from the usual ones you've seen here before, in the sense that this is a 3-point perspective drawing, which ultimately is not very different from any other kind of perspective drawing you'll see. Before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed, please consider it. A little click to that button goes a long way to helping me. And if you have already, thank you so much. I'm surprised we are over 700 subscribers for a channel that is that amateurish. I think it's surprising, and I'm very happy to see that. What would help me as well is if you left a little comment in the comment section saying a little bit about who you are and why you are watching this video. It's hard for me right now to figure out who I'm addressing. Am I talking to artists, and if yes, to what level, or people that are looking for something else? Any bit of information you could give me would help me make better content for the channel, because very soon I think we're going to start going in circles. And the last thing I want to do is make a boring channel. I'm hoping that these time lapses, these drawings, have a little educational value, and if not, at least some entertainment value. Yeah, I could use some help with that. Anyway, you see here we've got our 3 vanishing points set up, one on the right, one on the left, and one reasonably far below the drawing. That third one is what's going to help give this drawing a more epic quality. You will have the impression you're standing way over something that's quite deep, and just it's much more dramatic than your basic 2-point perspective. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on the construction here, and I can never overemphasize how much construction and construction lines are important when you do this sort of drawing. They are what will allow you to draw any shape in perspective, and I think you should not rush them, and you should do a lot of them, be it with a ruler or freehand, be it in pencil or in ink. Construction lines are the most powerful tool you can have when you're doing perspective drawings. This is something we can talk as well in another video if you're interested, by the way. I'm going to be uploading a couple of tutorials on these things on my Patreon, which for the moment has a glorious 2 patrons, and I could use some more. So, you know, guys, give it some thought. If you're an artist and you're looking for some tips, do head there. And otherwise, if you're a good Samaritan wanting to help a penguin in need, your support will be greatly appreciated. But yeah, there'll be, so far there's one little tutorial on 1-point perspective on it, and there are going to be some more. Hopefully this week I'll start uploading some. So if you're curious, go take a peek, and you'll also get discounts on my in-print store and my prints, even though I'm looking at another option now for people based in Europe, because shipping from there can be quite a killer. So I'll let you know how that goes. Hopefully I'll get another print store pretty soon with some more friendly rates for people in Europe. Anyway, construction here is moving on. I'm making design choices as I go. Once again, this is sketchbook, so that means I don't really have much of an idea when I go in. I know I want to do a cityscape. I have a very rough idea of the layout I want, but all the little details, all the elements you see here taking shape just come on spur of the moment kind of thing. Yeah, it's all about carving in dents, adding boxes to the surface I've already made until it looks reasonably busy, but not so much that it's overwhelming. Also trying some new shapes every now and then, like the curves I've put on the top left here. My previous designs had some round corners, but not a lot of curves in the drawings, so I thought I'd add a few. I'm going to put a few bridges behind both sides of the drawing here to make them look connected and hint at some kind of a transportation system maybe. And also, I will also be adding some small vehicles at some point in there, because that's going to be the only indication of scale you have in the drawing. I don't want to do windows on this one because they take a lot of time, for me anyway, because you have to get the size just right if you want to have a coherent ensemble in the end. So I'm skipping windows here, just, you know, making a big aggressive neo-brutalist building, something quite dystopian, not very friendly, very machine-like. It keeps in with the world I'm building in my sketchbook. There's some nice coherence developing there, by the way. Maybe one day I'll have the guts to take a few dozens and make a little book about them. It's on the back of my mind. But since I know nothing about self-publishing, that's a pretty big challenge. But yeah, quite a few people have mentioned some interest in that, so maybe it's something I should consider. What do you think? Let me know. Alright, here we're putting some elements on the right side of the picture, just making it something else than one big flat surface, and we're putting some kind of vents or dents or whatever these things are. I'm not really thinking function, this is all form. If it looks like it could be something, that's good enough for me, at least in those drawings. Again, I think when you do sketchbook work, you should feel extremely free. You should not worry about anything. This is meant to be relaxing and practice at the same time. Practice, mileage, however you want to call it. But it should not be stressful. If I got stressed during a drawing like this, I'd find myself stopping halfway through it. And that's never a very good option. Okay, we got enough lines here, so time for a bit of ink. I've put a couple of tubes left and right. I like those little curved surfaces I'm trying to put in. They make the surfaces look a little different. Not crazy difficult, but you know, a little bit of variation. And yeah, those big panels here, I like doing them. I'm putting them everywhere these days. I'm gonna have to stop before I get overboard with it. Go overboard, sorry. But there you go. Quick inking. Once I've done all the lines that matter, I'll be taking out the old Papermate and doing the outlines where they belong. Again, this is relaxing stuff, just going over stuff I've done before, getting some mileage on the pen. Still my favorite pen, and for those who ask, it's Pilot G-Tech C4. My previous video on the channel talks about the gear I'm using. It's all simple stuff. Short of the alcohol markers, it's all really affordable. I don't like using crazy expensive gear when I don't need to, and this is by far my favorite pen. And I think it's probably $3, something like that. So there you go. Trying to have a bit of variations in my shapes, making the thing look busy. Already kind of thinking about where I'll have some room to put those vehicles I've talked about earlier. Sorry for the coffee noise. Yeah, it's morning here, and this is a 3 coffee sort of morning. You gotta have those. All right, making room for some texture. This was a 2.5-hour drawing in total, and we're about halfway through, so I've probably been at this for at least an hour, most of it taken by the pencil construction. I don't have a color scheme yet in mind. I'll have to figure out what markers I still have that are not completely dry. This is a challenge these days. I'm about to order some new ones. But my last drawing I ran out of 2 markers, I think, doing it, so I had to get creative to finish that drawing, because when you have to fill a whole page with a tone before starting, and your marker dies halfway through it, well, you have to come up with solutions. Anyway, I'm going to buy some new ones. I think I'm going to stick to Copic. Maybe sci-fi, I'm still debating it. But all the other brands I've tried, at least the budget ones have been very disappointing. Like I tried the Ohu once and got no. That was not a good experience. I think you get what you pay for. I mean, it's not a terrible marker. It's great for solid colors, but blending and layering, just no. So right now I'm debating Copic or sci-fi, or maybe go back to the Shinhan art. They were not too bad. And if Copic, do I go with the classic, which I think is the best choice, or with the Chow, which are nice and affordable but don't hold much ink? Or do I go with the Sketch, although they've changed their name now, I can't remember what they're called. Which are not bad, but do I really need the brush tip? I'm not convinced. So I'm thinking yes every time I use it, but then again, when I use the classic ones, which only have a bullet nib, I found myself not really missing the brush tip. So choices, decisions, and above all, budget. Because these things cost an arm and a leg and then some. But enough of that. Let's keep on working on here. See, we've got most of our outlines in place, just going over a couple of lines and doing a few more indents and figuring out what could belong in that empty space here. Do I put something or not? Little details left and right, little squares, little circles. Nothing crazy. That's the line work about done. So adding just a few more panel lines here. So now I'm going to have to think about colors. Clean this up. There we go. And much thinking about what I'm going to do from there on in. No matter of cleaning up a few lines. I'll have probably to go over it again once I've put the marker, because it will make the thinnest line kind of disappear. Here we'll place a couple of vehicles. They look like dots here. They're a bit clearer when you look at my sketchbook in person. They make more sense as well on Instagram if you go take a peek there. And talking about Instagram, if you follow me there, thank you so much. We just passed 15,000 followers, and I think that's absolutely amazing. So here we go. Color time. I think this is a sepia. That must be. And we're just going to cover the whole drawing with it before figuring out where the shadows are, what's in the shade, what's not. And as I so often do, we're going to be mixing this warm tone with a cool gray, cool bluish gray that I like so much for that kind of work. Now I have to think, where do I want my light to come from? And I reasonably quickly decided, well, it's going to come from the right side of the picture behind that building. That allows me to have quite a bit of contrast on this side, and I think that's going to work reasonably well. So starting by filling whatever surface is facing us with that cool gray. That's step one, that's the easy one. Just trying not to forget any. I'll always forget a couple and have to get back in the drawing afterwards thinking, ooh, I missed that a little bit here. But that's okay. Yeah, this is the reasonably easy bit. It gets a bit more complicated when we're going to do the cast shadows, the hard shadows. I'm going to be once again eyeballing stuff, which I keep saying is not the best way to do it, but it's what I can muster right now. And I think I get away with it. Again, you guys let me know what you think. And see how just a little bit of shading makes makes the drawing come to life. I mean, there's nothing complicated here. Just everything that's facing down or towards you has a little bit of that cool gray on it. This is me thinking with my pen, trying to figure out, okay, if my light source is around there, then how are my hard shadows going to look? And once I do this, I am committed. This one will pretty much decide whatever else happens on this drawing regarding the shadows. For your hard shadows, always use a darker tone, a darker value than you've used anywhere else, because your dark shadows in real life are darker than a part of a cube that's not in the light, for example. So here I decided I want a light that's not coming at too much of an angle, that's pretty much not dead on top, but not a sunset, if you will. More like a noonish sort of sun, meaning the shadows will be pretty much straight down and just a little bit on the right of the drawing. Again, here it's about making it consistent, but not making it perfect. Making it perfect will require a lot more work. But if it looks consistent enough, then you get away with some stuff that's technically not on the spot. It's always a little complicated when a shadow hits different surfaces at different angles, but again, try to think about how it would work in real life and start with the most conservative approach, and then you can always make it more dramatic and do some corrections. But already here we have most of the shadows in place. So I'm using a couple of different grays here just to make a few different blocks on the image, break the texture a bit. Some good old parallel lines that always make for nice texture in sci-fi stuff. And then we're gonna have to dirty it up a bit. Here it's all nice and new and pristine. Am I already putting highlights? No, there you go. We're gonna make some rust spots, some dents, some scratches, you know, age the thing a little bit. Again, that's not a process that requires a lot of thinking. You just do a bunch of blobs left and right. How many is up to you. What size is up to you. It takes a bit of experimenting, and then you'll find stuff that works. I usually use a couple of light browns. Well, one light one like this, which I think is a potato brown, and then a slightly darker one to help with contrast. And I've recently started doing something, and I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier, because it's stupid. Use a black pencil as well when you want to do, how to say, if something had dripped or ran over the surface, some dirt that accumulated over time, a black pencil will allow you to make a very nice progressive shape that goes from very dark to very light. You'll see, we'll talk about it in another drawing. But ultimately the white pencil I'll be using for the highlights and a black colored pencil are very useful tools once you've done what we've done here. I've just added a bit more of that same marker at the bottom, just trying to do a dégradé, I don't know how you say that in English, but, fade out, from darker to brighter on top. Add a bit of atmosphere to the drawing. And now just a little bit of that highlighter, and we'll be done. So I have a matter of seconds now to thank you all for dropping by once more. Please, do leave a comment. Tell me a bit about, why you're here, what you enjoy, what you'd like to see. All these suggestions are valid. There's no wrong choice here. Just to help me make better content for next time, and make sure you guys keep liking the channel. All right, we'll finish this. I'll thank you once more. Wish you a great day. Bye bye.